Hello, friendos. Today we're reacting to and talking about millionaire streamers on Twitch doing millionaire streamer on Twitch things. As we all know, content creators, for whatever reason, get popular, become multimillionaires, and then can't help but be despicable, weird, predatory, just odd people. My theory for this is Twitch, obviously, specifically, not talking about YouTube, where this is also a big problem. But Twitch, you have a bunch of nerds, right? I'm not even using that disparagingly because I'm a nerd myself. You have a bunch of nerds who were not particularly popular in high school or, you know, weren't really the most socially well-adjusted people. And then they get famous and rich and get all this ego and all these opportunities and things that they think that they can do as a result of other nerds watching them on Twitch, and they don't know how to handle it. They don't know how to be normal people. So what they end up doing is falling into the pits of, you know, drugs and addiction and just ego and narcissism. And then you get all these stories about how they're all wilding out behind the scenes. Now, Mitch Jones is a World of Warcraft streamer, or at least that's what he was famous for originally. And he's been embroiled in a whole bunch of drama. I think he's in his early 30s now, so you would have thought by this stage he'd have grown up a little bit. But apparently not. And he's part of, you know, the Austin crew. A lot of people that came from the World of Warcraft side of things, you know, Asmongold lives there, Mizkif. It's the whole, like, OTK group. And then Mitch is sort of on the periphery. I don't think he's really part of the main group anymore. Again, this is me maybe being a little bit uninformed on the whole dynamic. But obviously there's been times recently, especially with this group, where there has been a bunch of drama about certain members. Now, Mitch has decided he was going to release a video talking about how he'd been assaulted by Mizkif. I don't know who told him this was a good idea. Obviously, if you hear, I've been assaulted by a famous streamer and he broke my tooth and he gave me concussion and he choked me, you're thinking, wow, man, somebody really needs to stop that streamer. So Mizkif needs to be stopped. He seems like a fucking animal on the loose, right? But unfortunately, that's not exactly what happened, right? Otherwise, Mitch Jones would actually get a W here on this one. So he released this video in which he's talking about and showing, you know, the damage of what happened to him. Saying that he'd gone to the hospital for a CT scan, all stuff that I don't doubt. I don't doubt he did. But then deceptively, he showed stills and a couple second clips of what it looks like Mizkif, you know, getting out of the car, walking over to him, you know, beating his ass, and then getting back in the car. And obviously, he's acquired this footage, presumably from somebody's CCTV camera, you know, these big houses in the hills, you know, living extravagantly as you do as a big, extravagant streamer. And he's subtitled this himself. So he's heard what's been said and thought, yeah, this needs to be selectively added to the clip. I didn't release the whole thing, of course, that would probably have made me look bad. So I'll choose which parts I'm going to put in. Then he's heard it and wrote down the sentence, Mizkif, you are drunk and on cocaine. That's Mizkif saying that to him. And obviously within this edited video, he doesn't show the whole thing, which we have here, that still isn't the whole thing, but is more, which we'll go over in a second. So basically his presentation of it is, I'm in the right. Mizkif is an out of control crazy man who just beat my ass for no real reason. And I was really drunk. Which means he could have killed me, which we'll get to in a second. So his story is they were arguing at Mizkif's house, and then they were arguing so badly that Mitch decided to ask him, will you drive me home? And he said, yeah, I'll do that. And then, apropos of nothing, when they were in the car, got out, beat his ass, and left him on the side of the road, beaten, battered, and bruised. But obviously the footage, as we'll show now, doesn't really line up with that. And again, this is footage he released and has selectively been edited to remove, presumably where he was actually assaulted, which would have been great context to include if you were in fact in the right. If somebody beats you up for no reason and you have the footage of it, you just release the footage. But this is what we got. So he said he could take him, which he's not disagreeing with. He's not saying, no, I didn't, you did this for no reason. He's saying, Mizkif saying, you were goading me. You were saying you could take me 7 times. You're drunk and on cocaine. So it's the middle of the day, as you can see here. It's just an average streamer day. So you treated me like shit. I'm your friend. I'm trying to, talk to you as a friend. And you treat me like shit. And then his response is, I don't care, but you broke my tooth. So all about me. Me.
You said, come on. You pulled me out of the car. You said, let's go. You can't say, let's go.
So you pulled this Mizkif saying to him. And of course, Mitch has presented this as if he's the victim, saying that he... Mizkif assaulted him for no reason. You pulled me out of the car. So Mitch pulled Mizkif out of the car and said, let's go. And Mitch's response is not, no, I didn't. You pulled me out of the car. You choked me. You beat me up. I didn't think you would punch me. Now, I might come from a rougher background than some people that obviously have grown up privileged to the point where they think goading somebody, putting hands on somebody, pulling them out of a car and saying, let's go, is not going to result in them punching you. Where I grew up, you get about quarter of the way through the sentence and then somebody headbutts you or something like that, on a council estate in a working man's pub or something like that in England. The idea that you're grabbing another full-grown man while intoxicated, shouting at them, saying that you're going to fight them, and then you're surprised when they hit you, when you are the one being threatening in that situation. Why the fuck did you release this footage? If this was not public, which it wasn't, who's convinced you, mate, other than maybe your brain and your narcissism, that you would come out looking good from doing this?
So back to the story. I was at his house, we were arguing, and then I asked him for a ride home. I get in his car, we're still arguing, and that's when we drive past this part of the neighborhood where the camera caught the assault, and I have the evidence right here.
So that's the evidence he posted originally during this live stream, where he was like, I'm exposing Mizkif for savagely beating me.
So that was right before the assault. This is directly after the assault.
So bear in mind again, if this did happen in the way that you said, you just released the full unedited footage, wouldn't you? This is before and this is after. Let's skip all the context and all the important part and just have me on the ground after, fucking Uno reverse card. I'm going to fight you. No shit, you just beat my ass.
Assault.
For some odd reason, Mitch Jones intentionally edits the footage down to before and after the assault only. So as we've just seen this part. Now, obviously, this has resulted in a lot of the content creators in the periphery of this group, the people who hang around with Mizkif and, in the Austin area and things like that, to come out and talk about Mitch. And none of it's good. Nobody's come out and said, I know Mitch Jones and I've known him for years and he's actually a really good person and, he's in the right here and Mizkif did nothing wrong. And it's mostly all been, there's a long history of Mitch Jones basically doing bad things to people and being a, bad person behind the scenes. Maybe not a bad person, but definitely not a good person, not a good friend, not somebody you'd really want to associate with overly in a personal sense. Just somebody who seems to be quite in it for themselves, which, a lot of streamers are, I guess. A lot of people are in general. This was Alinity.
Shit like this, right?
And her opinion.
And then months later, he comes to me and he cries and he tells me, Alinity, I don't know what to do. Everybody hates me. I'm depressed. I don't want to live. Like all this shit to try and gather sympathy or whatever. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't understand these people. I don't fucking understand these people. It's so scary.
So obviously some people are going to say, who cares about what Alinity says? She's done some bad things as well. I don't think one has to necessarily interact with the other in terms of, people can have opinions on others. So obviously maybe this is a concerted effort by everybody within this crew to protect, one of the main protagonists. and say, oh, you know, we're all going to stand by Mizkif and say Mitch is the problem, and you know, Mitch did all the bad things, and in reality, Mitch is the hero of this story. Maybe in an alternate reality that's the case, but just interacting with it on surface level. If you followed streamer drama, which unfortunately I have for some years, and also just interacted with the facts on this one and what he's released himself, nobody is really going to take his side on this one other than die-hard delusional fans who just think, you know, my streamer couldn't possibly do bad things, even though he provably has over time repeatedly. It seems like this dude has a falling out with everyone around him, and if he is addicted to drugs, you know, my sympathies for that, because that sucks, and obviously is something that happens to people that get money and fame and try this stuff and then they just get hooked on it. And then it really cascades in their life, and it does destroy relationships. Anyone who's known somebody who has a drug addiction or any addiction in general can attest to that. It is something that goes on. So if that's the case, hopefully he gets help. Hopefully, you know, he sorts his life out. He's in his 30s now, like I said. So presumably this is right around the time you'd want to start growing up a little bit, especially when you've been gifted with a massive platform and the opportunity to earn millions of dollars, something that a lot of his audience would absolutely kill for. He gets to live his dream, and instead he's wasting it by throwing away, you know, years-long friendships, trying to fight people because he can't handle his alcohol and drugs, and it's making him an even worse person. But yeah, it's just highlighting yet again the curious case of streamers get super famous, get super rich, and then just start doing, you know, just mad shit for no fucking reason. This could have been a moment of you know, self-growth and learning, reflection, and think, you know, an ass beating, not the worst thing in the world, to shake you up and make you understand that stuff's going wrong. And if your friend, you know, your good friend, is physically assaulting you, even if, you know, you are the one who decided to start that, if that's the case, maybe this is the time where you change your life. But instead, obviously, he's not. He's decided to wait weeks or months and then paint himself as the victim and completely, you know, torch that relationship, burn that bridge. So it doesn't look like he's going to, you know, 180 on this and turn his life around. He's not quite hit that rock bottom yet, which eventually he either will or he won't, and it'll be too late. But yeah. So there we go, streamer drama. Who really gives a fuck in general? I just think it's interesting. And these people just continue to do stuff like this. So we'll keep talking about it. Thanks for watching. Check GamerSupps, link in video description. Go buy GamerSupps. You can buy Blowhole Blast. You can buy Anime Titty Milk. I don't actually think it's called that, but there is one that's Anime Girl Thigh. There's Titty Milk. Talking about Twitch streamers, there's even a soda popping flavour. Soda Pressed Despair, which is actually a banging flavour. As you can hear, my cat's going nuts, so I think we end it there. Thanks for watching. Link in video description for GamerSupps discount for you, kickback for me, and I'll see you next time. Peace.